Yes, sir. As we proceed
To give you what you need.
to give you what you need, it's 9-5, another episode of the 95 Plus podcast. I am your host, Anthony Ragler, aka Dreadhead in the Lobby, not Chance the Rapper, more like Probability the Poet, and I am here. And I am here with Mr. Sexy Foam himself.
Yo, what's up?
Suntan Poppy just got back from vacation. 2016 United States Barista Champion, the only person in the world to work a shift on February 30th. Give it up for Mr. Lem Butler. How you doing today, my guy?
February 30th.
Yes,
Word.
sir.
That's what's up, man. I'm good. I'm real good.
Man, it's the summertime. I know you just got back from vacation.
Yeah, man. Hanging out in the Outer Banks.
Too. I need one of those. I need a beach vacation.
Word.
I feel you.
You need to go out there, man.
I'm gonna try.
It's dope. It's dope.
I haven't, I've been out here 3 years now. I still haven't hit the beach.
We
yet.
talked about that, man.
I've done.
Get you out there.
I've gone to other beaches, but I haven't done the ones in North Carolina yet. I need to change that.
What beaches have you gone to?
Let's see, Miami, the ones in New York. New York beaches aren't really beaches though. Like,
Yeah.
You ever watch that comedian Mike Yard?
Yeah.
He's like, you go to the beach in Brooklyn, you come out with a drug addiction. So like, like those beaches ain't that great, but like DR, Bahamas, those beaches,
Yeah. Dope.
lovely. But I haven't done the North Carolina ones yet.
I will tell you this: you go out to the Outer Banks. It's a 4-hour trip, depending on where you go. But the minimum is like 4 hours.
Okay.
So you're not going to see a lot of us out there. And the great thing is when you do, it's like, oh shit, what's up? You know, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it was dope. The weather was nice. You know, it didn't rain at all. It was sunny. It was hot. Definitely North Carolina hot.
Dog.
You know,
This hot been beating me up, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird because it's like it's also still hurricane season, so like it didn't rain out there for you. But I just went recently and did a training for one of our accounts that we got up in Philly, right? And we're getting ready to leave. I gotta go pick my daughter up after the train. So I pick my daughter up, and I'm like, okay, about six to 7 hour drive. This thing says severe thunderstorm alert. I'm like, okay, hurricane season. We're gonna hit North Carolina. It'll be rainy, whatever. No. I hit Delaware and the sky was purple.
oh what?
I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna make this.
I heard it got nuts here, man. Like, yo, did it get crazy?
Yeah, no. When I made it home, my power was out.
Yeah.
That is. I was like, all right, cool, got it.
My trash cans were in the backyard. Marley's basketball goal was down.
Dude.
Yeah, it was nuts when I could do it, like branches and whatnot in the lawn.
I used to remember those
what
type
happened?
of storms. I used to remember those type of storms when I'd come down here and visit for the summer. Like when I come down and spend the time with my grandparents, and it'd be like storm. Like it's the day after tomorrow's happening outside. It's just trees falling everywhere, power's out, and it's still like 104 degrees.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is it raining and still this hot?
yeah.
It makes no sense, bro. Like down south got it.
Summertime.
So all right.
Yeah.
So vacation was cool.
Vacation was great.
Welcome back.
Word.
A little birdie told me you've officially hit your 20-year anniversary.
Yeah, 20
being
years in
this?
coffee, man. Yeah. It was crazy. Like, so Sarah and I started dating in 2003. So we hit our 20-year anniversary of being together.
Word.
And then soon after we met and started dating, I got my first gig in coffee.
Right.
It's like August 8th,
Okay.
03. So this week in the Outer Banks, I hit that 20-year mark.
It's crazy. I was up driving around, traveling, getting ready for this Philly trip when I hit my 3-year with Black and White.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I'm younger, but like I don't think I've given any place 3 full years uninterrupted without another like occupation also happening during the same time. So this was like kind of surreal. Like, whew.
Yeah, that's how it was, man. Like when I first started, I worked in the coffee shop for 4 years.
Right.
And that was the longest. I mean, aside from DJing, that was the longest I've worked for someone.
Right.
in one spot.
But DJing, you worked for yourself. So
yeah,
like, that was the longest you
a
worked for
little
someone,
different,
period.
a little different. But working for someone that, working in a cafe from 03 to 07, that was the first time I did like a 4-year.
03 to 07, and then you made the switch to counterculture 08.
Yep. Well, 06, same year, 07.
07, okay.
Yeah. And then I was there for 10 years.
Yeah, and then here.
Yeah. 07 to 2017.
That's crazy.
And then that was the longest I'd been working for someone,
Okay. So so tell me, 20 years. And your 20 years, I'm gonna be fully transparent. It's a lot different than like a New Yorker's 20 years in this. Like I'm not at 20, but it feels like it in some ways, because like the way things go up there, or at least the like metropolitan cities that I've been a part of, you kind of run the circuit. You're not just working one cafe until you make it to the big roaster. Like you work at like every place ever. Like if I sit down and talk with like baristas that I know from New York, they can give me stories about every place that I've like interacted with, like as a salesperson, as a tech, whatever, because they've all worked at all of these places. Like people can give timestamp stories of like, oh, I remember when this owner was going through this thing and they acted like this while we was at work and this thing was going on. Oh, you worked at this spot. I remember when they used to be cash only. Like those those kind of stories happen like in the like barista circuit up there. So like I'm interested, for someone that didn't go through that, what are some of the like moments that are like timestamps for you in
timestamps?
It's like, especially with like the North Carolina cafes, because you helped with a lot of them being in contact.
Yeah, I would say a lot of the equipment, a lot of espresso machines, because a lot of the the trends for espresso machines, it took a while to come down to the South. It was more of like, coffee is coffee, so let's get the cheapest machine we can get, because we don't want to spend a lot of money on it. But then it didn't really make much sense, because you buy this cheap machine and then it breaks down and then you got to pay this tech to come out to fix it all the time.
But there's some things though that are positive though out of that, because by not following those trends, you also missed the trends that should have never happened.
Yeah.
Like, I give you an example. I remember in New York when like Devotion took off, and like everybody wanted to have a machine with the lever.
Oh, like, yeah. Why?
No. They still got that mug too. Like
really?
I've been to Devo.
Yo, I went to New York Coffee Festival and they brought one of those lever machines.
They still
with them.
got. I'm like, for what? Like that ain't nothing but a bunch of extra parts that could break.
Yep.
Like, dog, just go get your KB90 if you really want to be on the up and coming, like cutting edge of new stuff. Like, don't need that. But like trends like that, y'all miss down here.
Yeah.
Because people weren't planning to like spend all that money on stuff. So they got to like watch people screw up on their own in other places and like sift out the nonsense. And what actually stuck is what ended up being the next set of trends down here. New York, you'd see like, hey, we're going to do this because this thing is cool and this is the newest machine that came out. And it's like, we should probably get this time to screw up a little bit first.
Yeah.
Like, do you remember the first time seeing a Slayer, like Slayer Espresso?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, the machine looked awesome.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I wanted one so bad. But this is around the time when I was working at Counterculture, so it didn't really make that much sense to get one, because they were, they had, a great relationship with Marzocco. Yep. So it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
But I still wanted one of those machines. And actually, Jubala, they picked one up. Yeah. They got that single group Slayer.
Okay.
For a cart.
Oh, okay.
So, but again, it didn't really get put through like that cafe setting,
Right.
But I heard about that first version in the cafe setting.
So the first time I ever interacted with a Slayer, it was actually it was a while after they started like hitting the ground running with their stuff. But this is cafe in New York. I don't remember the name of it, but those that know, y'all know what I'm talking about when I say this. But they had a Slayer Espresso 3 group. First time I ever seen one of these, I was sent to go do a tech call for it. Bro, it is a gold-plated, like the whole thing is
I never saw one of those.
gold, just gold.
Right on.
I'm like, y'all want my inexperienced ass touching this? I'm good. And then like I get there and like they got all of the equipment from manufacturers that I've like not really touched machines from. At this sounds like one of my first couple of weeks in tech, but like you know counterculture. They got they people they work with.
Yeah,
you know?
in-house, yeah.
You know the LMs, you know Fetco Curtis, yada yada. So like I'm going around and I'm seeing in this one spot. I'm like I ain't never seen that machine before. I ain't never seen that machine before. I don't know what this is. Like just like whoa. And it's like that dare to be different, like dare to spend the money to have this thing that no one else has. Super New York mindset, super up in that area kind of thing. And it wasn't until I got more comfortable around these machines that I started to realize like, okay, cool. This is what actually works. This is what like is a fad that may die out. And like, we just got to give things time to, you know, settle itself down. Like it's not really easy to get to see new products in like cafe full volume settings until it's too late.
Yep. And I didn't see the Slayer again really until it was another New York Coffee Festival when I guess this is when Sarah Dooley started working for them. And they introduced the that kind of album set, the EP, the LP.
Yep. Those were dope.
Yeah,
so
those are dope. Yeah.
My first experience with those is I think I like got to like work on it a little bit beforehand, but like my first experience, the user for real experience of them was when I started working for Salesforce. And that gave me so much touch time with it, like as a user, as a barista, but also as like just a tech, like getting to look at it during off hours and stuff like that. And like then getting to see like, oh, this is extremely dope.
Yep.
But through the like hustle and bustle of most spaces, like this was different. I had 2 days of the week that the Salesforce Tower was closed. I had ample amounts of time where I was doing office work and doing like business meetings and stuff like that. That was out of the like operating hours during the week. So I had plenty of time to like just have my hands on things and understand what was going on and like really like look through stuff in a way that you can't do in like most cafe settings because it's 7 days a week. You got to be open at all times. By the time y'all close, you're ready to go home. You're not sitting around your cafe after close. All that to say that like that opportunity to get in that touch time was what really made me like understand what went into a lot of the stuff that are now my timestamps. Like, this era was this. These are the things that changed. This is the technology that we've gotten to like grow and advance in. And now like, you know, now being here, I'm kind of on the other side of it where I get to see early, like, okay, cool. These are the things that companies are going to start trying. These are the things we can start expecting in machines. These are the things we can expect to break and kind of know that beforehand rather than, you know, being the user going, I don't know how to describe what's wrong. It's just broken.
Yeah, I mean, having access to equipment, man, that makes the world of difference because you get to have, you know, hands-on working with the machine, working on the machine, and then you can make that decision, you know, because like, you know, at the Coffee Master stage, Slayer sponsored that competition. So I had access to that machine all weekend. And then Sarah had her booth right beside the stage so I can ask questions and whatnot.
All right.
But starting out, man, we had the Chimbley, the Dosatron, I think it was the 3,500 or 35,000, something like that. And then we had a Chimbley grinder. Grinders have come a long way. I mean, the Chimbley grinder we had that little tamper on the side that you tamp up. You know what I'm saying?
You old as hell, brother.
And then, you know, so I learned that, you know, the paddle, the click grinders, they're designed for you to grind and fill up the chamber. Yeah. And then like 1 click, 2 clicks is for like a single dose, or 3 or 4 clicks is for a double dose. That's what, because you can feel it click, you know? Yeah. And so that's what I learned back then. That was what it was. But in a busy cafe,
no one was doing that.
Because in a busy cafe,
you can't just turn that.
You can't just go like click, click, click. You know, And no, you just go, you fill that thing up and you're rolling.
Yeah.
And then by the end of that, rush, you got like a pile of grounds right there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so I got you. So we're gonna timestamp it real quick. So
Right.
you counterculture 07. So you working in the cafe from 03 to 07.
Yeah.
How long until you learn to start weighing your coffee?
Man, I don't think scales came into the picture until, man, that's blurry. That's real blurry. That's real blurry. That's real blurry. Like, that's probably closer to the end of my career at counterculture because, 2016 was when Kyle suggested I use scales in finals in the USBC. And I said, all right. So I brought scales out there and I put them on top of the machine. But because I was so accustomed to not using scales, I forgot they were there. They sat there the whole 15 minutes,
That's
unused.
So all right. I'm gonna keep you in the old school range. So they sat up there. Now I know that on my tech sheet, they tell me like what I stopped it at, like how much coffee was in. Was that on y'all tech sheet?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So you just said, all right,
all
right.
I was so used. I mean, at that point, like, that's it's almost like 14 years in coffee of like dosing and eyeballing it in the portafilter, knowing what 18 grams looks like. You know? And once you get it dialed in, it's dialed in. So your shot times should be the same, you know, as long as you eyeball it correctly. And if you work in that's the difference between a working barista who competes and
someone that only competes.
Someone who only competes. You know what I'm saying?
But that's kind of like being like the people that,
because we didn't weigh our milk either.
Right. Oh, yeah. I just started that joint like 2020. But like that's kind of like the people that like played basketball in the park growing up as kids.
Yeah.
And like the difference between them and the ones that like had private school and like private trainers and all that stuff. Like like a hooper. Like 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 you could walk in and you could find like the barista that's like, nah, you worked at some you was the best barista at some really bad spots for a while because you just had to get it out the mud. That's a much different barista than the one that like, they've worked on the greatest technology from day one. It's a difference. Like those ones are the ones that'll call you like as a tech and like they're tripping out because like, hey, the volumetric stopped on my machine. The other one will be like, all right, cool. So I just press the button again to stop it since it won't automatically stop. Okay. Like that's the stuff that I'm used to. Like my first cafe, we had two Mazers. We had the Super Jolly that had the like single button, double button, manual button. None of us knew how to program the buttons, so we just pressed the manual until it hit like the amount of coffee we wanted. We just filled the portafilter. We didn't even weigh nothing. But then we had the for decaf, we had the Mazer that had the little
little paddle click.
Yeah. So we use that. Put your shots in, and load them in the GB5. No weighing, no nothing. It was you want it to be somewhere between 20 and 30 seconds. You stop your shot when the line gets blonde and starts to wiggle. I said, cool. That's it. So when I started working at cafes that weighed their shots, that had scales in the machine, that had better grinders, that I'm like, all right, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, how you gonna work on this machine if you can't read how much coffee's coming? I'm like, I know when to stop it. It tastes okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so weird, like being. And I guess in fairness, like my first cafe, I was like years behind the curve. Like our cafe was one of those cafes that was a little bit behind the 8 ball on like technology and getting better. They probably always stayed that way. Like they never really left that like 09-ish era of like style of coffee. But because of it, when I started to learn all the new stuff, they were supplemental knowledge. They taught me how to be good with the tools, not the tools be the only way that I could like make coffee.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, we train folks how to look at a shot as it's developing, and then you know like, okay, it's going to start out really thin, viscous, and then it gets thick
Thicker.
like honey, kind of globbing out of the spouts. And then as it thins out, that's when you look to turn the shot off. You know what I'm saying? And now it's like we got ratios.
Yep. Now it's recipes.
You know, how much coffee going in, how much is coming out.
How long is it taking for that to happen?
Yeah. And now, I mean, even now with, you know, different roast profiles, coffees are a lot lighter than they were back in 03, 06. So you're going to get that kind of, you know, blonding effect very early on.
Yeah.
Your crema is not going to be as thick.
As it
may break a lot sooner than it did back in the day, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, there was even a fad. Do you remember that time when people would like scrape off the crema?
Yes.
Yeah. What was that shit about?
You want me?
And it didn't last that long.
You want me to give you my honest answer on that one?
Yeah.
Everybody see you scraping the crust off of like the coffees when you're cupping. So they thought they was doing something. It's like, bro, just
because it didn't really last that long. It's just like, just stir it in there. It'll be fine.
You'll be all
Yeah,
right.
it is bitter. I mean, the new crema
one
is
now,
bitter, but
the new one now, and I saw this in competition a good bit this year. Is people will make their milk beverage, just stir that mug like before the judges drink it.
oh really?
Like they'll just be like, all right, cool. So here's the beverage. Like, you know how you give stirring instructions for your espresso course? They doing that with the milk course now too. Where they just like the top of it tastes different. Like than the rest.
You gotta.
So I'm just
I ended up telling them to get past the foam. To get to the beverage. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, sugars do settle because they are heavy.
Yeah,
and that
so
foam
like,
is light.
It's just interesting seeing like the fads as they come. You know that's not good for the sound, right?
No, it actually sounds good.
Is that go some coffee?
It makes them want to cup.
Do you want a cup? Oh, welcome to being in the living room with us, man. We vibing. You guys see, we in a new location now, man. Let me segue real quick. We're in a new location. We got video incorporated. We've been doing the last couple episodes with video, but now you guys are gonna see us in a more official space. We're gonna have more guests coming on. We got some surprises for y'all. If you are a company that would like to partner, if you guys want to see this grow into something even greater, which is ultimately what we're trying to do, hopefully create this to be a platform for just the coffee industry at large. And you know, if y'all want to help with that,
should definitely
come talk
reach
to us.
out. Yeah,
come talk to us, man. You know,
right, Wags?
That's right.
Yeah, we got.
No.
We got unmute. We got Wags on the mic for the first time. Talk to him. Hey, man.
What's going on?
Hey,
I mean,
man.
all this really started when, you know, Wags and I were sitting in the Roseville Cafe just talking about coffee. And he was like, I didn't know that, you know. And he was like, you ever consider doing a podcast? And I was like, what did I say? Yes, no, maybe, kind of.
I mean, I think you had thought about it before. You've been on a few podcasts before, right?
Yeah.
So we just chatted about what we could make this into. And we didn't really have a good idea at first, but it kind of morphed into this, which is good.
Yeah, no, I think that is just a matter of us being like, okay, cool, podcast, that could be fun, but like, how do we keep it fun? Because almost everything that's out there is very like NPR-y, like just quiet interview. And I'm like, yo, let's vibe, man. Let's have a good time. Because like, that's what, at least in listeners, people in the room, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the things that I think we tend to remember the most about our time in this industry. It's like the people we come across, the experiences we have, those moments behind the counter that like no one that walks in the building even knows is going on, but like you got that secret understanding with your coworkers, or you got like that secret understanding with the barista that works at a neighboring cafe that walks in and kind of knows what you're going through. Like those moments are priceless. Those experiences are priceless. Having those at Expo where you at competition and like,
Dude, that first expo I went to, man, I was blown away, man. It was like, it goes back to what you talked about, I think very early on in the podcasting. We did an episode where you were talking about the things we remember are the things that, you know, impact how you feel. And that first expo, when I walked in, that feeling that I got, I still carry that feeling with me, you know, from that moment. And, you know, each expo I've gone to is kind of chasing that feeling, like that crackhead.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get that high again.
Yep.
But you're not going to get it from that first time you walked in. And that's what, I hope this podcast will be for people to create that feeling. Because like you said, there are like informational podcasts out there.
Mm-hmm.
And those are great if you're looking for, that NPR knowledge about coffee, about the industry. There's plenty of podcasts out there.
Yeah.
But how are you going to feel about it?
What's the culture? Because like
Yeah.
I get like one of the things that I think I really loved from some of my expo experiences. It's funny how many people go to expo. It's like maybe they're one of their first couple of times going, or even if they're a seasoned veteran. But like I'm gonna stick to like the first and second timers for real. Like you're there, and like most times if it's your first time, you're there because your company finally sent you, and like you've been trying to like. You're banging your head on the door to have a reason to be able to go to something like this so you can advance your career, grow. I know a lot of companies that don't want to send their baristas because they don't want them to get too skilled and then like they outgrow their job role or whatever, even though like people are trying to just make a living, take care of their loved ones, like whatever, right? Now, how often you're at like after events at Expo where you walking around and you just chopping it up with some people you met like recently and you're just like, y'all just secretly telling each other the bullshit about y'all respective companies. Like that feeling of being there and you're like, dog, I don't know you from a hole in the wall, but you see this, right? Like,
we just bonded.
And you rocking, y'all bonding over all the nonsense that go on, and then y'all run into like one of y'all bosses, like later on in the flight, like, hey, and then y'all rocking, y'all back, yeah, that's my boss I was telling you about. And they walk up, yo, you sound so it's just like, yo, like that feeling is so unparalleled when it comes down to this industry. Like not just the talk shit, but just like the fact that there's so many unspoken bond moments that happen. And that's really like what I want this space to be like. So in honor of your 20th year in this, man, tell us some of them stories, whether it's Expo, whether it's a coffee fest or just meeting up with a account that you work with where like you got those random bonding moments that really stick out to you.
Man. All right. So my first time on the West Coast was 07. Mm-hmm. Never been to the West Coast before. Sarah and I went. This is after I placed third in the regional. And so I had to find my way out there. Mm-hmm. My boss, she covered, what did she cover? She covered the entry fee to nationals, and she covered the hotel. Mm-hmm. And then Sarah's mom, she covered the flights out to Long Beach. Mm. So we went out there and we did it on the cheap. We stayed at the Vagabond Inn. Woo. And it is everything
that name sounds like.
We roll up on the Vagabond Inn in Long Beach, and there's bulletproof glass for the check-in for the desk. Okay. Like, and that just said a lot, right? Okay. Got our room, went to the room, and there was like punch holes in the door. Like someone had just been beating the hell out of the door. Mm-hmm. The room was okay. I found a 1 gallon Ziploc bag that had weed in it. I mean, there was no weed in it, but it had weed in it.
Oh, once upon a time.
Yeah, once upon a time.
Okay,
it was just behind the bed.
Okay.
It smelled like some dank. It had some crumbs in it. And I was like, I looked at Sarah. I was like, I held it up. I was like, yeah, we in Long Beach, the LBC. And so, we're going to go down to the convention center. And we're walking out of the hotel, and guess who's walking in to check in? Chris Baca and Jerry Trilly.
Checking into the Vagabond Inn?
They're checking into the Vagabond Inn. Yeah. And they look at me, and they look at each other, they're like, yo, Sexy Foam, it's Sexy Foam. And I told you about that puppet show, right? Yes. So they start reciting the puppet show. My version, my part of the puppet show was my final presentation. Mm-hmm. And we just clicked. We just bonded right then and there. Mm-hmm. Because they were working for Verve back then. And it was dope. And And they were like, yeah, we recite that puppet show at the bar all the time, behind the bar while we're working.
Oh
yeah,
man.
that was dope.
Yo, is it not weird to like go places and like this? I mean, obviously not anymore now because now it's your name, but like people call you out of nowhere, but they call you by your Instagram handle.
Yeah, it's just weird.
No, like I remember I'd be at
That's why I dropped the sexy phone.
Because it was kind of weird. It was kind of weird getting called that out. Yeah. But now mine's be like, yo, you dry head in the lobby, right? And it's fun. It's always funny as hell to me because most of the black people know that reference.
Yeah.
It's white people just like they'll say it. And they'll be like, yo, you dry head in the lobby. And I'm like, you have no idea what that means. It's fucking hilarious. And then when they find out that message is great. Like it, like I always like have like in like the gaming industry, I have a different nickname. It's not too hard to find. People that know me know, but like it's always funny when someone finally realizes why a name is what it is.
Yeah,
I've like gotten messages both for in gaming and like in coffee, like my Instagram, where it'd be like 5 a.m. and it'll finally have clicked for somebody. But they need to let you know in that moment, like, yo, that's that Chance song. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, no. It's like that one Leonardo DiCaprio meme. They're like, ooh. But okay, so
that and I've got this kind of, I don't know, this weird connection with Long Beach now ever since the Vagabond Inn, because after that experience, I went back to Long Beach because I was invited to do what was it, Coffee Common. And Coffee Common. Coffee Common.
Okay.
It was this group that brought barista champions from around the world to do coffee events.
Okay.
And they had this contract with TED, TED Talks.
Yeah.
And TED was in Long Beach. And so they set up, I think it was like 8 or 9 like coffee bars around the TED event. And so there was like, a lot of U.S. champions, and I was invited out. Some international champions were out there. And they put me up in a hotel, which was across from the convention center. And I'm coming down the elevator and walking through the lobby, and Macy Gray walks in. And I'm like, what's going on? And I was like, oh yeah, I'm in Long Beach. Of course, might see some people out here. And so I'm just kind of chilling. And then she walks over to this area where there's some musicians and just gets on the mic. She walked into the hotel, gets on the mic, and she just starts singing. Yep. And I'm like, yo, this is dope. And then I think the third time I went out to Long Beach, and every time I've gone out there, I had to make a point to stop at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles. Mainly because of, Snoop and Dre and all those cats. But, and by the way, if you've never been to Roscoe's, you got to go. It's an experience for real. But the third time I went out there, I was competing again, and I was convinced I was going to win it or make it to finals that year, and did not make finals. But yeah, that was my Long Beach connection, but it all started with the Vagabond. Okay. And each year I moved up hotel wise, so the status got a little higher.
You got a little better.
I was invited out, everything was covered. Third time I won a regional, so everything was paid for. So the status, it kept moving up.
So the next time they put nationals or expo in Long Beach, you gotta go back and stay at the Vagabond Inn. Just for the culture. Just
for
one time.
Old
just for
sake.
old time's sake. Just be like, never forget where you came from, right?
Yep.
See, all right, but you bringing up Macy Gray, I got a question for you, because I know a couple of my answers to this one. Who are some of the famous people that coffee has gotten you to interact with?
Man, not many.
Really?
It was I might be missing some, but Ashton Kutcher and who's he dating?
Mila Kunis?
No, before that.
I don't know. That's all I got.
God, I could see her face, dark hair. You remember back in, it was like
he ain't narrowing it down at all.
2008.
So when Punk'd was still going.
Yeah, they rolled up into the TED Talk, and he brought Starbucks with him, and she got a like an oat latte or something like that. But they asked us not to like get all starstruck and ask for like Demi Moore. Yeah, she got the oat latte. Yeah, Demi Moore. That's who.
That's why you got the laptop.
I know, right?
Research. Okay.
So that was an interaction. I didn't really interact with Macy Gray because she just walked in and I was just kind of starstruck, fanboy, and then she got on the mic. I felt like there was somebody else, but no, I got you. Anaheim.
Okay.
I made it to semis in Anaheim and didn't get past semis, and I got really pissed off at the judging that year. And Sarah's like, you know what? Let's just go to Disneyland. We made it all the way out here. Let's go to Disneyland. So we went to Disneyland. And I'm all like grumpy and whatnot.
You mad at Disneyland?
No, I wasn't mad at Disneyland. I was just mad at the competition and everything. You know how it is.
No. But how are you mad in Disneyland?
I know exactly.
Mickey running around. He was like,
I'm all grumpy, walking in there, and she's like, there's a Buzz Lightyear. I'm like, whatever. But then I was like, you know what? Goofy has always been my favorite character in Disney. So let's go. Okay. Let's go see Goofy. And we go, he's got a house there and everything. He's got his little car that he wrecked into his mailbox. And there's this long ass line of kids to meet Goofy and take pictures with him. I'm like, whatever, I'm going to stand in line. And when I get up there, take pictures, Sarah's taking pictures. And then he calls Pluto over. And I'm like, dude, you got a long line of kids. He's like, no. And then he pulled Pluto over there. Pulls Sarah in, gets one of the guys working there to take pictures of us. It took like 10 pictures. Just me, Goofy, Sarah, and Pluto just chilling. And I'm like, all right, word. Screw competition. I'm having a blast. Right. I'm hanging out with Goofy. I got like some priority like over all these little kids who are hanging out in line for like an hour to meet this cat. And, here's some adults hanging out. So that was dope. That was a famous encounter.
I know who's the most famous person you interact with because of coffee. He said Goofy. Like Goofy.
Straight up Goofy.
Like, bro, like wait a minute, man. Like so like
yeah, man.
I mean, one of my obvious ones is Jimmy Butler. We remember that. Like everybody's seen that photo. But like I think so this one there wasn't too much of an interaction outside of the phone call. But so I left the cafe that I had managed for like 3 years. It was like maybe a month in between me leaving that cafe, like the story of me quitting and me officially just saying, screw this, I'm moving to DC. Like maybe no more than like a month. I worked at another cafe for like 6 days. Like just because I was like, I'm just gonna try to have a job, try to figure something out, see if this other spot will work out. And it wasn't really a specialty cafe. I didn't know until it was too late. But it was a chocolate shop. So I'm there, and they got online ordering. So like DoorDash or Postmates, whatever it was at that time. Order comes through one day. Look at the joint. It says Shannon Dotery, and I'm like, what? You mean like Prue from Trump? Like, ain't no way. So I just like pretended something was wrong with the order and called like, yo, just to hear the voice. I'm like, yo, that's Prue. All right, yeah, we'll get this done for you. Click. Showed up. I'm like, oh snap, that's tough. Okay. Like just this weird moment of being like, you ordered online. We know your name. Like we know that's you. Like nobody else has that name.
Right.
So that was pretty cool. This guy, Hari Kondabolu, comedian, he was a regular in my first cafe. Cool as hell. Like he was dope as hell. And he always like told me about him being like a comedian. Like he was a comedian. I didn't know him at the time, like for real. And then I think like 2 years or so after I left, he like had a Netflix special pop up with one of his stand-ups. I'm like, oh, you you like really do this. Oh, snap.
Yeah,
Like, and like
yeah.
getting to see him. I was like, yo, this is dope. Your special was great. Like, he's cool as hell. But like, I guess it's this weird, like, I didn't realize he was a celebrity or realize he was a big deal at the time. And it kind of made it kind of more cool down the road when like realized like, oh, this is someone I talk to every day. And then the last one I think that really stuck out to me from my time at that cafe. I was in the cafe one day. It was me and my coworkers, this young woman named Sophia. And this woman comes in, orders her coffee, make her coffee, whatever. And I'm totally not noticing that Sophia is over here losing her freaking mind. I'm not paying attention. She's just going. I'm like, made a coffee. All right, cool. She walks out. She's like, you know who that is? I'm like, no. She's like, that was Anna Kendrick. I'm like, who the fuck is Anna Kendrick? She's like, you know. And then she like starts playing the Cup song from that, like, I think that Disney movie or whatever it was. I'm like, oh, I would never been able to tell you what this woman looked like, but this made her day. She was starstruck in the corner. I'm like, dope.
Oh, I'm tripping, dude. I'm tripping.
Go ahead.
I'm so tripping.
Go ahead. You got one?
Yo, yeah. I'm so tripping, yo. This was 2016.
Okay.
This is right after I won.
Okay.
So this is this group called Summit.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do, they gather young professionals from around the country and get them in a room together. And they'll do like talks. They'll be like musicians or whatever. And they did a summit at sea one year. And the summit was great, but the food was horrible. So the second summer at sea, they brought in chefs to curate all the restaurants. And they didn't stop there. They wanted to bring in a coffee roaster to curate all the cafes. And there was like, I think it was like 4 cafes on this cruise ship. And they asked Counterculture. They invited Counterculture out. And I just won. And so they were like, well, you should go. And you and Darren Berlin. And you guys go out, get the coffee there, train the staff. You'll probably have to work in the cafe, depending on the level of the baristas. And so I was like, words. And I didn't really know much about Summit. And so I get there, and it was like, it's a full cruise ship, and never been on a cruise ship before. And so got, all the cafes set up with the coffee, and these baristas were from around the world. And they were pretty dope. And so I didn't need to be in the cafe. I just stopped through and just check on them, see if they needed anything, got them coffee if they needed coffee or whatever. But the cruise ship, Summit had, they had LeVar Burton on there. There was Kendrick Lamar was there. Quentin Tarantino was there. Quentin Tarantino and Kendrick, they did a talk together. Talking about how they started in their careers, and they were very similar how they started. And you basically had free reign of the ship, and it went 24 hours. So there would be talks all day, lunch, dinner, and then there'd be entertainment all night. Or there'd be some talks at night, and then entertainment would take you to like 5 a.m. Then it'd be like some yoga, sunrise, breakfast, stuff like that. And they would just keep going like for like 4 days. And so I'm sitting in this club listening to these musicians play, and in walks Quentin Tarantino and sits right beside me.
Nice.
And I'm like, what do I say to this dude? You know what I'm saying?
2016?
Yeah. So I didn't really say anything. I just sat there and we just listened to music together.
That's cool.
It's kind of dope, right? Bumped into LeVar Burton in the hallway after his talk. His talk was dope. And then I bumped into Kendrick Lamar. I sang "Walk on the Wild Side" with the lead singer of Alice in Chains. Wags. What's his name? Oh my God. The lead singer of Alice in Chains. Well, anyway, he came out to do like a guest, slot with this one. Yeah. Huh?
Lynn Staley.
No. Back before him.
Oh.
Like the original Jane's Addiction. God, what's his name? That's him. Really? Yeah. You got a picture? Let me see. I don't know if that's him, man.
This is where on the video version of this we pull up the photo. And
I know, right?
Like we pan to it so the viewers
That's
can
the
see the
original
photo.
cat. I'm thinking about somebody else then. But anyway, but that whole like trip was dope. I'm in an elevator, and the elevator's packed, and we're going up, and someone's cracking jokes in the back, and then no, and then everybody's laughing and whatnot, and we get to a stop. He gets off, and it's Orlando Bloom. You know, yeah, it was it was just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Jermaine Dupri,
Nice.
he DJ'd at the back of the ship. They had like, you know, the DJ booth. They had like this big.
This is
video
all for
screen.
Summit.
This is all for Summit.
Oh, you?
Yeah, it was legit.
That's
That was
cool.
a
That's kind of
legit-
cool.
yeah,
I like
yeah.
this.
And there was just a lot of like famous people up there. It was
Okay.
pretty dope. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. So we got crazy expo stories. We got fame, famous people. What is a experience you had, whether it be your own cafe at an account, so on and so forth, that's just like probably the single craziest thing you've heard from a customer, like or just like from a person in that space that like has never left your mind? Because I got one for you, but I want to hear yours.
I may have said it before, but this is very early on in the coffee career, and yeah. So I'm working in the cafe. It's very busy, and it's one of those hard days too, where you just like got your head down, you're grinding. You know, you're not really paying attention to the customers, because that's the register. That person is taking all the orders, and they're like interacting as they can, you know. Right. And it's me and someone else double barring in this really tight space, you know. And I make this latte, and I put it up on a counter, and I turn to get the next order, and I hear, "Oh, so this is what you're doing with your degree."
Oh,
and I look up, and it's one of my former professors. And I can't even say anything, you know what I'm saying? Because I got like a line of orders, and they're walking out. And I'm like, that's messed up.
Yeah, that's
and then I just go back to making drinks, and then that's kind of like in my headspace for the rest of the day. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
So the one I'm gonna go with is a little more comical, and it caught me so off guard. But the reason it's like fresh on my mind is I actually had this conversation with a barista maybe like a week ago. I was at a cafe, and we were just talking about like some hilarious exchanges that's happened, like because it was a cafe I used to work at, and just explaining some of the like crazy things that have happened while I've worked there, or whatever. Right? So I'm in this cafe, and I ended up telling them about the story from my first cafe. So remember I told the story of like it's someone that I knew through poetry that like referred me to the job, so on and so forth. So I'm working a shift with them. Trans male, like maybe like a couple of weeks beforehand had just gotten top surgery, right? So that's my homie for life. Love him, right? We sitting there. It's kind of slow in the cafe. We kind of just talking back and forth. We used to just like shoot the breeze whenever we got to be on shift together. Someone walks in. Gay guy comes in, places his order. He goes, "I'd like one of both of you." And I look up and I'm like, what the fuck is you talking about? My coworker, well, boss at the top, face palms, like the hardest face palm I've ever seen, sighs, and then looks at me and goes, "I'll make it." He wants a long black and a flat white. And walked over. I fell the fuck out. I was like, how did you decode that? But the same way you was like, yo, that stuck in your mind on it. Bro, I was playing that in my head the rest of the day, like, ain't no way, bro. But hey, man, all I had to say, I've only gotten half the time that you got in this industry, but if you spend any amount of time in coffee, you know the hijinks never stops.
Yeah, it doesn't stop.
It is a very entertaining place. It's a reality show or a sitcom on any given day, and you know we love it. We still love it or hate it. I'll say we get entertained by it at all times, and there's so many really dope stories that are gonna come out from our experiences, and then also from y'all. We're gonna have some people up here to tell some real fun stuff over the next couple episodes. So thank y'all for rocking out with us, man.
Yeah, for real, man.
Yeah. Wags, you got anything before we close?
I just can't believe that story.
Yo, that's the yo, that one it had me messed up for like weeks, bro. I was just like, who says and I'll say some like off the wall stuff. So if I have a who says that moment, like you got it. Like you've won today because you outsmarted the level of wild stuff that I have said at any given point in time. Like they got it. That was comedy at its top level. You know what, Wags? You are a regular at quite a few cafes. Give me your most entertaining experience given to you in a cafe. Like just something funny or wild or memorable that's happened while you've been in a cafe as a bystander.
Oh man, it's happened in a cafe. Funny. First thing that comes to mind was just a lady passing out, but that's not funny.
That's not funny. Wait, how did she do?
Yo, I had a lady that swallowed a bee. It got stung. Had to go to the
bee?
hospital. Yeah. So our cafe, we didn't have inside seating. It was all outside, and the trash cans in the spring and summer, you know, those yellow jackets.
Yeah,
they be out. You know, the yellow jackets in North Carolina. And this lady was sitting out there just talking, and a bee got into her iced latte, I guess, and she drank it, and it stung all the inside of her mouth, and it swelled up. They had to call the paramedics. That was wild.
Yeah, I ain't got one of those. I'm glad.
Nothing like that. The first thing that comes to mind was I was at a local coffee shop here in Raleigh, Jubala, and
Drop them by name.
Dropping
we're gonna bleep that. We're gonna bleep that one later. Go ahead.
It wasn't Jabala's fault, was it?
No.
She choked on a biscuit.
There was a.
You know what?
That biscuit was so dry she choked and passed out.
Yo, stop. Yo, hey, Andrew, like, that's him. I didn't say
Andrew knows I love him, and every time I go there, I get a bacon, egg, and cheese
But you're
biscuit.
not finna do it to me. I bring my family. Yo, Jubala, I love y'all. You feel me? We good. As
Much
you were
love
saying.
for Jubala. Much love for Jubala. We love it.
All right, come on, Adrian.
No. One of the employees, he no longer works there. He's been gone for a while. He just tried to be smooth. One evening, I was there with my little sister, and I knew he had a thing for my little sister. He brings me a free cup of coffee to kind of like walk over and kind of like, you know, get a little bit of FaceTime, be around, get some, make himself present. Sets it down on the table and does this spin move on the chair and smacks the cup of coffee just after he says, and it just shoots all over my laptop, all over me, and he just froze. He didn't know what to do, and then he didn't do anything. He just ran to the back. So,
I'm out.
I mean, what's the play after that? You kind
don't
of
know.
you just gotta accept it. You lost today.
Yeah, you lost.
You
You
gotta come
lost
back.
big time.
Yo, can I put your laptop in some salt?
Yo,
And
put
some
in some rice. Oh man. Oh.
That's messed up.
You've been in coffee the entirety of the time you were with Sarah, so you have it. I will say that I assume you've never had an experience of trying to shoot your shot at a regular, but I am sure you have seen coworkers try to shoot their shot at a come on.
Oh yeah.
What's the most embarrassing thing you done seen somebody do for someone that they got their eye on in a cafe?
Oh man.
Because you got me going, Andrew. Come on, let's do it.
Well, it's weird, and this one sticks out a lot because I work with like 90% women in the cafe, and the clientele were probably 90% women who came into the cafe and got coffee. So whenever a dude would walk in, it was typically a good looking dude. So the girls behind the counter, they just be like, just drooling, yo, Lem, you got to make this drink. I can't make this drink. It'd be stuff like that, right?
Bad.
I can't make his drink. I can't make. So Lem, you got to make his drink. You got to make his drink. This one barista, she was so smitten with this one cat that would come in and he would get like a quad latte or something like that. She was so smitten, she would turn like bright red every time this cat would walk in. And the other baristas, they kind of urged her to go talk to him, right? So one day she worked up the courage to go talk to this cat. And I made the drink. She brought the drink out to him, and she just froze. I mean, literally, it's like some TV, like she's holding the cup with two hands.
Oh, wow.
Like this, froze, and just didn't know what to say. And she's just turning bright red and starts sweating. He takes the drink, and then she just goes back and hides in the back.
See the smooth ones know the game is, and we've all done it. You see them walking up, you know that they coming in.
Yeah.
You jump they drink to the front of the queue.
Right.
You had a drink ready by the time they get to the register. Now it's just time to talk. Like, oh, you don't even gotta order no more, but now you got a couple extra minutes in your day. How you don't like you gotta know the moves, man. Yo.
Sounds like you got the moves.
Oh, look, listen. At one point, I had very small windows in my coffee career in which I was single. It was all before I moved to DC, but like I had very small pockets where I could, But with that being said, I had this weird situation one time where I'm in DC at this point. I moved to DC in August of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what that year was, right? All right.
The year I won.
Well, to the rest of the world, to coffee people, that's the year you won. To the rest of to the rest of this country, what that year was, right? One of the greatest of years,
right?
Unless your name's like LeBron James, it wasn't that great of a year,
right?
So it's January 2017 now. I'm in the cafe one day. I'm closing. It's a closing shift, and two women walk in. They excited as hell. I ain't never seen somebody this happy for coffee at like 7 p.m. ever. They're like, oh my God. Like hype. I'm just like, y'all excited. They're like, yeah, we're just visiting in town. I'm like, okay, so you aren't from here. You're excited to be in DC for the first time. Yeah, it's our first time ever coming to this side of the country, East Coast. I'm like, all right, dope. Striking up conversation, doing the regular thing, right? So what brings you out here? Oh, we're here for the inauguration. I'm like, oh. I'm at a job where they're like, we don't discuss politics,
right?
At all. Well, no matter where your stance is on it, we don't discuss it. They're like, it's just safer that way. I'm like, you know what? This ain't my company. I respect what you feel. I will not, I won't show my face of how I feel about this interaction right now. It is what it is. Cool. All right. So get their orders, go over to the machine, go make their drinks. Go talk to my coworker now. I could leave. Y'all got somebody to entertain you. I'm good. I'm over here making their drinks. One of the girls walks around to like where the machine is, like pretty much comes like behind like to the working area. And it's just like, so, we're only out here for a couple of days. So like, if you'd love to hang out, like I'm like, fam, did you not hear what you said you was here for? I have no inclination to believe you like me. I'm good. Get me out of here. But I can't say none of this. I'm just like, I'm okay. I'm like, no, I'm good.
I'm okay.
Here's your latte. Y'all have a great day.
Dude, I was a tease in the cafe because it was mostly women that came to get coffee, right? Mm-hmm. So
tread lightly, brother.
Yeah,
we know your time. No.
So and it was the same women that came in and got the same drink. Mm-hmm. So I knew like most of the drinks, and so I would just go ahead and make it.
Yeah,
when they
get in line.
And so when they get up in line, get a drink, and then Yeah, so that was my thing.
Dog. All right. So
Here we go.
He's working.
Sounds good, doesn't it?
He's working on his ASMR channel right now, guys. But no, all right. So boom. So I got one for you. All right. So I'm working at Salesforce, right?
Yeah.
Working at Salesforce, and I used to drive into work every morning because it was so early. I could get like early bird parking in the middle of Manhattan. So like it'd be annoying to leave, but like it would cost about the same to drive to and from work as it would for me and my wife to get on the train and travel there and back. So I could drop her to work, go to work, pick her up, bounce out, and like be more comfortable than taking the crowded train in rush hour, right? So I drive in most days. We had an issue the night before with our car where like I needed to like jump the battery. Somehow my wedding band made a circuit with like the jumpers and like shocked through my finger. I had like a huge ass hole like right where my ring was, right? So I took my ring off that night, like wrapped my hand up, bandage, whatever, right? I'm at work the next day, one bar. This woman walks in, right? And she is so aggressively shooting her shot at me. Like, it's bad, bro. Like, she's leaning over the counter, touching on my shoulder. Like, I do not know this woman at all, bro. Like, going crazy. And I'm looking at my coworkers who all know. I'm like, none of y'all gonna help me? Like, y'all don't, like, bro. Yo, why? Well, one of my coworkers look at me and go, well, you're not wearing your ring. I'm like, you mean this big ass hole I got in my hand right now? Of course I'm not wearing this shit. I'm like, yo, like, I felt like I used to see some of the weirdest stuff.
Yeah.
And just people would just be like trying to turn the hijinks up to 1,000. So
I mean, the long black flat white.
Yo, that
coat.
one, man,
that
I
one.
never forget.
That wins the day today.
I will never forget it. And you know what? I hope one day, yo, Miles, I know you've listened to an episode before, but if you ever listen to this episode, I want you on here because you know we got some amazing stories from those days. We're not gonna reveal the name of that cafe, but you know, we should talk about it one day. You got anything else for the people before we roll up out of here, my guy?
Nah, let's just roll out.
Ready to roll out?
It's been 20.
It's been 20.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations
to 2 decades of excellence, my man. You got another 20 in you?
Sure, why not?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I got another 9 in me. So look, more power to you.
I mean, there's plenty out there, you know.
Touche.
Yeah, there's plenty out there.
All right, man. And with that being said, this has been another episode of the 95 Plus
95
podcast.
Plus.
Thank y'all for coming on this journey with us. We're glad for you guys to all see where we're taking this. And we'd love to have y'all join us on another journey again soon. So peace.
2 times.
2 times.